Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Okay, cool.
Well, Cuphead and his pal Bugman, they like to roll the dice. By chance they came upon Devil's Game, and gosh, they paid the price. Paid the price. And now they're fighting for their lives on a mission
Good morning.
fraught with dread. And if they proceed but don't succeed, well, the devil will take their heads.
All right. Okay, everyone, let's get rocking. I hope you're all doing okay. I hope you're all staying healthy, safe, and having a pretty good week thus far. Today, we're going to go over a number of topics, and some of them have to do with where we are currently in the semester. So if you actually look at our schedule, it might be hard to believe, but we are not that far away from the finish line here, right? It's right down here on the 8th, and here we are right up here in early November. We have less than a month, okay? Probably about 3, maybe 4 weeks until we are done, okay? That's it. In fact, after today's lecture, you only have 1, 2, 3 more lectures in the entire course. And in terms of deliverables, you have 1 more, right? So you're midway through 1 deliverable. You've got another deliverable after that. And then you have 1 final deliverable. But so essentially about 2.5 big technical deliverables left. That's it, all right? So we are almost to the finish line here. So, keep rolling. Hang in there. You are almost there. And I have to be honest with you, we're seeing these projects evolve every week, and some of these are really, really impressive. To the point where I think when you start putting your games onto itch.io, and particularly at the showcase at the end of the semester, like there's some real potential for some of these games, right? To get picked up, to go viral, to get a good, healthy player count, and maybe even things beyond that if your team decides that you want to keep working on this. But anyway, I'm very happy with what I see so far, and I think much of the staff is as well. So some announcements first. Happy Xbox Series X / PlayStation 5 launch day. These 2 consoles are launching 2 days apart. I believe the Xbox Series X launched yesterday and is now available and out there. I wonder how long the lines were. I'm not entirely sure. But the console's out. I'm not exactly sure how expensive it is, but I don't think it's a good sign when they only give you the price in terms of like an installment plan. That makes me a little bit nervous, to be honest with you. The PlayStation 5 is also coming out, but I believe tomorrow. Yeah, and Sony won't even tell you how much this costs, so I'm very nervous about these 2 consoles. I hope I can afford them. We will have to see. But anyway, it's a very, very exciting time, right? The developers that have been the developers that find themselves working on consoles, right? So those first-party studios are going to find they have a lot more technical flexibility now. They can push themselves, they can push their visuals, and hopefully they'll also decide to push their game designs and worlds as well. So a lot to look forward to with these consoles, I think. Okay. So quick note, and Ishwar mentioned this, and I'll make myself a little bit smaller here. Ishwar mentioned this in the Discord last night, but the staff grades your weekly deliverables every single week at Tuesday from 6:30 p.m. until we finish Eastern Time, and that's usually from 6:30 p.m. to about midnight or a little bit past that. So if you see us in the Discord server in our staff room channel, we're almost certainly grading, and we will not be very responsive during that time since we're trying to get your feedback and grades back to you as quickly as possible, okay? So if you, like Ishwar said, please send us your emails and questions before 6:30, ideally a couple hours before if you want to get those responses quickly. Okay, a quick tip. Many of you are going to be heading off to jobs, right? You're going to be joining a team as a junior engineer. You're going to be joining an academic team if you're going to graduate school, maybe a research team. And so there are a couple cool techniques for making the onboarding process a really big win for you. If you go into an internship or if you go to a kind of an entry-level position at a software shop, chances are you'll get a mentor who is supposed to be kind of guiding you through how to work within your tech stack and get stuff done and kind of get integrated into the team. And they'll probably say something like, hey, come to me with any questions you have, right? But that's not really how it works, because the people who are mentors for interns, they usually have a lot of responsibilities and they are very dependent upon within a team. right? So while they may say that they hope you'll ask a lot of questions, oftentimes they're secretly hoping that you'll be able to figure some stuff out on your own. You'll come to them with some questions, but not a ton. And so here's a technique you can use, and I've used it before very successfully. So instead of going to your mentor, right, your designated mentor for all of your questions, figure out who's on your team, and then set up kind of a round-robin list, okay, where you've got everyone on your team who might be able to help you with stuff on a list, and then you kind of increment your pointer every time you ask a question to somebody, and wherever your pointer is, that's where your next question needs to go, and eventually it loops around. What happens is your questions get answered because, hey, they're people on your team. They usually will know how to deal with some of your beginner-level intern problems because they were interns or junior hires once. And you get to meet all of the members of your team. You get to ask questions, which means that they'll gain confidence in you, right? You'll ask good questions, so they'll respect you. And you do not ask a ton of questions and steal a bunch of time from your mentor. So as a result of this, you get your questions answered, which is the primary goal. You're productive. Your mentor is really going to love you because you're productive, right? But you're not really taking and spending a bunch of your mentor's time to get to that productivity. And last of all, you now have a basic budding relationship with all of your team members, right? Hopefully they respect you from asking some pretty decent questions. So please keep this little technique in mind. It can have a big impact in your first few weeks on the job, okay? Well done on P3 Milestone 2. You only have about 3 deliverables left, Alpha, Beta, and Gold. So this is crunch time, right? This is the time to make it happen, to do or die. So let's make sure you're getting in a really good week, okay? Your cumulative grades should be visible in Canvas. I'm not exactly sure what it looks like for students. It's been a while. But you should be able to see kind of your final projected grade in the course. There's still a lot of change that can happen in your grades because of the value of these final 3 deliverables. And there's some other deliverables too, like your postmortems that will get you some pretty easy points. So please take a look at that. Make sure it's kind of where you expect. You can email us if it's not. Not that we will give any bumps at all. We just don't do that as a policy. But we can give you tips on how to have a really good final few deliverables, which can and do extra credit, which can get your grades back up, okay? So the video feedback for all of your P3 Milestone 2 deliverables went out last night, okay? And when you read and when you watch some of those feedback videos, a few teams are going to probably be maybe a little bit discouraged, okay? As the staff, our tone may be starting to get a little bit more stern. If we feel your project has fallen behind, we'll let you know this. We won't sugarcoat it. I've been there. It can be very frustrating, right? It's not always what you want to hear. You invest yourself a week, and maybe you invested in the wrong things, or maybe it didn't really go well, right? A lot of bugs caught you this week, and it can really feel a bit depressing, right? And that's something that happens a lot, and it happens to everyone. And a couple things I want you to know. So I ran cross country and track back in high school. And when I was doing those workouts, right, we used to go on super long workouts that were like 10 miles up to 14-mile runs. And I was not the best on the team. I was always the guy who was either like the last man on varsity or like the captain of JV. And so I was constantly on and off of that team. And what I noticed was that coach always seemed to be calling me out, right? Always was calling me out, and I really didn't like it. It was very frustrating. I'd be running and jogging with seniors as a sophomore or freshman, and I would be the only one who got called out for it, right? And I was loafing. I was taking the day off, right? My coach would see me throw his hat on the ground, jump on it. He actually did that. It was kind of funny thinking back on it. And really, God damn it, Yarger, get the lead out of your ass. Go, 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 come on, what are you doing, right? And it was really, really embarrassing. And it was kind of demoralizing. And but it got me to run, right? And it got me to speed up. It kind of accomplished its objective in a way. But what I discovered was that my coach wasn't picking on me, right? He wasn't criticizing me because he didn't like me or something, right? Or he wanted to embarrass me, right? Or hurt me. what I discovered was that, I was a freshman and sophomore, and I had a lot of potential, right? And, the coach really, he still believed in me. He still thought I could get a lot more out of my running career. And so he really picked on me in that way. He gave me a lot of criticism. He didn't shy away. Whereas the people I was running with, the seniors, they had already kind of gone through their career. My coach had, in a way, kind of given up on them, right? And so it struck me one day that, you know what? The time to be fearful isn't when the coach is yelling at you. It's when the coach has stopped criticizing you, stopped trying to make you better, stopped giving you ideas to improve, okay? Because that is the moment when you know your coach has given up on you. That is the moment that you know you're getting cut next week, okay? When coaches stopped investing in you. Because as it turns out, it takes a lot of energy to go in and find criticisms and display that passion. This is all to say that in your career, when you are receiving criticism, hopefully it's constructive criticism and not too demoralizing and nasty. But keep in mind, that is not free, okay? It takes effort and time and investment to provide that. And so the person who's providing it, often they believe in you, okay? They still see you going further than you're currently at. And so whatever it takes, do your best to try and just contextualize that, right? Okay. They want better from me. They believe I can do better, right? And then on the flip side, be a little bit nervous when you stop getting that meaningful feedback, right? When that passion seems to disappear. That means that your stakeholder has written you off, unfortunately. In some cases, that's what it can mean. Anyway, that's my cross-country story, me getting yelled at, getting a hat thrown down. It's all in good fun, and it was super useful. I'm glad it happened. I want to give you a little mini lecture, very short one, on the topic of the line renderer component. We've talked about other components in your juice lecture, and it wasn't just high mileage. We did a lot of intervals. So what would happen in cross-country, I apologize, everyone, it's a Twitch chat. What happens in cross-country is that you often do these interval workouts where you do really short sprints. And by really short, I mean you'll sprint for like a mile. And then, it's not very short, is it? And then you'll take a break for like 15 minutes. And then you'll sprint for another mile. And then you'll take a break for 15 minutes. And then you'll sprint for another mile. And that's your entire workout. Only 3 miles. The next workout, to let your muscles recover, might be a much longer distance one, which is much less intense, but much longer. And so alternating those different kind of workout styles can be really, really good for muscle growth and for getting you into shape, and without hurting you or damaging your legs or muscles. Okay, if you're constantly doing these short interval workouts where you're sprinting every single day, there's a high chance of hurting yourself, unfortunately. Anyway, let's keep going. I want to talk about the line renderer component when it comes to juice. We talked about other components, right? The trail render, we talked about Hooke's law and how that can be used to make things springy and juicy and organic. But the line render component is a very, very simple tool that is not to be underestimated, okay? Let's take a look at it. It's very simple in that it is a component you add to a game object, and it simply renders a line. It's the line render. You give this component a bunch of positions. These are essentially vector 3s. You give it a list of vector 3s, and this component will automatically render a line that goes between these vector 3 points in order. Okay, so you can create essentially whatever shape you want. You can create a closed shape if you want. You can create a line. You could create a wave if you wanted to, render water or something. You can create geometric shapes this way. You can change the color of that line. You can change how the corners work, how rounded they are, and you can do a lot of other stuff too. You can adjust the width as time goes on, right? So it kind of grows in width, this little example here, as we move on. And yeah, it's just really, really easy to use. The simplicity of this component might kind of hide its uses, right? Its variety of uses. I want to give you a couple examples. So this is one of the games I'm working on in our spare time. This is kind of an RTS game / tower defense game. In a tower defense game, one thing that the player must know is, okay, how far can a given tower see? So our little raccoon JPG, our little raccoon PNG here, might look ridiculous, but when you hover over it, you can actually see how far it can see. And it will actually harvest currency from enemies that walk through this area. And so you can see that we have this shape. It's not a circle, right? It actually is not very smooth, but the vertices, the individual points, actually kind of go in and out on the sine wave. In polar coordinates, the radius of each vertex kind of goes in and out on the sine wave, and the offset within that sine curve is actually shifted based on whether it's an even point or an odd point, which is why you get this interesting little like two vertices next to each other will go in and out, in and out. So anyway, that's really, really pretty effective for what we want. However, if you take that exact shape and make it small with the line renderer, then what you get is another extremely useful thing, which I call click feedback. So in many games, when you click somewhere, you'll get some sort of little effect that basically registers feedback and tells the player's brain that, yes, the game noticed you clicked here. It registers your command. And in this case, when you click in this game, there's this little click effect, right? This little explosion that happens. This is literally just the previous visibility shape shrunk down to the size of one tile and then given a certain amount of time before it fades out. And you can adjust the color of these line renders, so it's super easy to give it a fade, right? It shows up briefly, and then it's gone. It's like this little explosion, but it doesn't use any particles, and it's pretty neat. Works really well. Okay, so those are two examples of things that you could use your line renderer on. We've seen some other creative uses of lines in some of your games. So if you don't have these kinds of things, feedback, juice, if you're looking for a little bit of polish you can add to your experience, consider the line renderer, right? What kind of interesting shapes, dynamic shapes, could you calculate at runtime and then render to show the player what's going on? Think about that. Okay, so another reminder about EECS 499, I believe backpacking has gone on. There's a form here that you can fill out, and it's fairly short. And that will essentially get you into the EECS 499 Video Game Directed Study course. If you want to spend some time next semester, like investigating, for 4 hours per week, 8 hours per week, some really unique or esoteric game dev concept, then you absolutely can do that. Okay, we had students who were gamifying the EECS autograders, so they managed to secure the source code to James Peretta's fabulous, I believe, EECS 280 autograder. And so we augmented that and gamified it with some new features. It was super cool. We had some students who have made Twitch.tv game designs where players play a game with a streamer by typing into the Twitch chat. A Twitch bot will then take what is said by each player as like a command and move their character, their avatar in the game. So that's really, really fun. We had one student who was really into Fire Emblem and kind of turn-based strategy games. And so he built a convolutional neural network with, I believe, genetic kind of pruning, genetic iteration of the networks to get a bot that played Fire Emblem. We didn't quite have enough time to make it very productive, but I believe the source code is still out there in the public GitHub, so it could be expanded if anyone wanted to. Those are just some examples of the kind of stuff that you could do, okay? I have some freelancing communication tips. So what's going to happen is you filled out your freelancer kind of extra credit form where you say, hey, I need a freelancer for music, I need one for visual arts, and I need one for voice acting, okay? Now, voice acting, you're going to take your needs to the Voice Acting Club Discord server, and you're going to ask them there. You're going to post in the unpaid auditions channel, and that's how you're going to get your points there. However, and likewise for the visual arts, you're going to need to find a visual artist on campus, or you're going to need to find one on the internet, or maybe at EMU, which is really close by. They have a game art program. However, the music section is kind of unique in that the PAT 305 students are going to take a look at your forms, and they're going to email you if they want to work on your game, okay? And that's how you get the extra credit. So we'll be collaborating with Professor Thompson's fabulous PAT 305 game music course. And if you haven't taken that course, you got to take it. If you're really into video games, if you like video game music, if you want to know the history of it, And if you want a very, very light and very satisfying course to kind of fill out some credits for you next semester, then that's the one to take. Okay, Pat 305, or just Google Matthew Thompson, video game music, and you'll find his course. Okay, highly recommended. Okay, some communication tips for freelancers. So artists are not usually clairvoyant. If you don't make your expectations known, if you don't provide references, then you're going to be surprised at what you get, and maybe not always in a good way, okay? So artists, musicians always value references. Find some photos of other games and art styles that you want to replicate, okay? So here's an example, a really cool image. This is a character done in the different styles of some of the various like cartoon TV shows that were out at the time. You got Fairly Odd Parents, you got Gravity Falls, which is much kind of rounder face and neck. You have the Simpsons / Disenchantment kind of style, which is very unique, where characters have no chin at all. It's really, really interesting. Eyes are handled differently in Adventure Time, for instance, than in Gravity Falls. It's just cool stuff. So anyway, provide references. Always, always, always come to an agreement on a deadline. You must have deadlines. Otherwise, you're just going to get pushed back and back and back on other tasks that did have deadlines. Okay, they're gonna supersede you. Okay, everyone needs deadlines. This is the famous Walt Disney quote, "Dream builders. Everyone needs deadlines." So don't take it from me. Take it from Disney. For 3D art, start with sketches, then move on to a 3D model. Set up low latency communication channels. So get your artist into your team Discord or your Slack or whatever you're using, and you'll want to have an instant communication channel as well. So something like a phone. Right, get their phone number so that if they're just not responding suddenly to your Discord messages or emails, you can call them up and literally say like, "Hey, what's going on? Like, where are you?" Okay, very important stuff. Okay, you have an assignment released. Okay, wait, we have a question. The spec for the freelance assignment said the staff will send their form to 3D modelers. So yes, that was the case previously. Unfortunately, though, that's not going to happen this semester. So I will change that later. But Royal Peaches, you will need to send these forms out. Tigsource.com is a great place to do that. IndieDB.com is a great place to do that. There are quite a few forums online where various people are looking for collaborators and would love to jump onto your student project and help out. Okay. Any other questions? You can expect P2 Gold grades to get back at the beginning of next week. That's right. I believe our internal deadline for P2 Gold grading is, I think, this weekend. I believe it's Saturday evening or maybe Friday evening. I can't remember. Anyway, all right. Okay, so you have an assignment that was released today, your P3 Alpha, okay? And this is a very similar kind of deliverable to all of your others, your previous ones. However, a couple things. Your P3 Alpha, kind of historically, it is meant to be your feature complete version, okay? It is your version of the game that has all of the content that you're ever going to have. So all the enemies are in the game, all the puzzles are in the game, all the mechanics are in the game. However, that doesn't mean it's polished, and it doesn't mean it is bug-free, okay? So that's what alpha usually means. But if you don't necessarily have to have everything in your game for this alpha deliverable, but this is what you should be trying to get to, okay? Because you only have a few more deliverables left to polish it all up after you get it in. The big change this week is that your iteration.txt, which is where you've been putting kind of your changes for the week, is now going to be a dev blog, okay? A publicly facing, internet accessible dev blog on itch.io, indiedb.com, and tigsource.com. You're going to be putting the same dev blog and even the builds of your game, all three of these places, okay? And you're going to have another document that essentially links to these different places, okay? I would try and create an account now, okay? Do not save account creation for your team until the last moment, because some of these websites, like indiedb.com and TigSource, sometimes they can take like 3 or 4 days to get your account created. A moderator doesn't like your submission or something, and it can take a while to get that up. Okay, so be sure to get that done as soon as possible, like today after lecture if possible. Okay. And yeah, that should be fun. Hopefully you get a few people playing your game. In the past, it was really great. Some of our student projects got like several hundred plays in a week and several comments, and started to build up a little bit of a community, which is super, super cool. Okay, so a quick Unity engineering dev tip, okay? Spawner scripts for your singleton game objects. A problem that we ran into at Arbor Interactive, and a lot of people run into, but I don't think ever really solve, is, okay, you have a singleton game object. Okay, it's a prefab. It's a manager. Let's call it the player manager. Okay, it is a game object that is responsible for spawning in all of your players at the right location and in the right amount. So if it's only a 2-player game, we spawn in 2 players. Gets them all initialized, and then we're good, right? Well, you might create this prefab, but chances are you're only going to put it into your first scene, okay? You're only going to put it in your first scene, which means that if you ever want to run your game, like in level 2, okay, and the way you want to get there is by going to the scene level 2, right? That scene isn't necessarily going to have your singleton, because your singleton, your player manager, starts, it's only in the loading scene, or it's only in the title screen scene, and it's just not there if you jump straight from the Unity editor into the level 2 scene, okay? So this can be really frustrating, and it can kill your iteration times, because suddenly you are forced to go back to the title screen for even the tiniest change. So you have to navigate the title screen, then character select, then play through the first stage, and then maybe get to the second stage, or maybe have a level select that speeds it up a little bit. But what you'd really rather have is you'd really like to be able to designate certain prefabs, certain singletons, as being in every single scene no matter what, okay? And here's a way to do it, right? We can wipe out an entire class of bugs if we can guarantee that certain prefabs that are critical to gameplay are going to be in every scene in the entire game, no matter which scene we go to. So if you look into the hierarchy view on the left of the Unity editor in an Arbor Interactive game, this is what you're going to see, okay? And as crazy as this looks, with like tons and tons of little singletons and manager game objects here, okay, it's even more now. We have a lot of singletons going on in our games, managing various systems from UI to WebSockets and interactions with a backend server, to a bank that stores ease values that we can then grab from anywhere in our code base, to a playtesting bot that basically fakes inputs to play through the game for us. There's a lot of stuff, okay? Now, quite a few singletons represent game objects, represent single systems, typical singleton logic. Okay, you've seen this logic before, okay? If you have singletons in your game, you probably have used something like this. Static, class name, right, instance, awake. Okay, you check if that instance is not equal to null, right? So if that instance has been filled by another instance, right, that variable has been filled, and that variable is not pointing to us, then we destroy ourselves, we got to go away, okay? Otherwise, we say don't destroy ourselves, so we stick around into the next scene, and we set that variable to be us, okay? So we claim that one singleton instance variable to be us, and then we're around forever. Okay, that's not very complicated, and you're probably already using it. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the power of an editor script, okay? We want to make sure that if a given scene we're in doesn't have the singleton that is necessary, it spawns it in for us, okay? So what you do to create an editor script is a script that runs in the Unity editor and not in your game, okay? It's running while you're programming and making changes in the editor. So it's really, really powerful. If you create a folder named editor with a capital E in your project, then all the scripts inside will be editor scripts. So let's see here. Here's an example of this. In Arbor Interactive projects, we have many different Git repositories inside of it. So we've got Arbor modules folder, and then we've got all of these different Git projects inside of it. And each one of these has an editor folder inside of it. So Arbor Banks has its own editor folder. Arbor Config has its own editor folder. Inside of these editor folders, you'll find a component usually called some sort of editor spawner. okay? This is a script, sorry, not a component. Well, wait, is it? No, this is not a component. This is just a normal C# kind of class, okay? And inside of this editor script, you'll see this kind of logic, okay? So it's just a vanilla C# class. It has a static class constructor, okay? This is a constructor function that is for the class and not for any instance. In other words, when this class is loaded into the C# runtime, this constructor will be run. It hooks up, it registers a callback on this function that is going to be run every frame that the editor updates. And then we have a function that essentially checks whether a given prefab is in the scene or not. And if it's not, it spawns it in. All right? So every single frame, we have a script that runs in the editor that spawns in certain prefabs that we have designated as being, hey, you got to be in every scene. All right? So there is a full file here that you can use. So after this lecture is over, you can come back in here and you can grab all this code, throw it into a folder that's called editor with a capital E, list your prefabs you want to be in every single scene using this function call right here, and that's it. You're going to have that prefab in any scene you go to, okay? So this is kind of a cool technique if you're worried about the performance of checking your objects every single frame of the editor. It doesn't seem to have much performance impact, okay? So don't worry about that. Just experimentally, it doesn't seem to be important. So some takeaways, though. You can eliminate entire classes of bug with really good DevOps, okay? If you say, you know what, interns and my team members are always forgetting to drag certain prefabs into a scene before they run it. So then they're confused, errors show up, they're confused, the game doesn't work, and then we lose like an hour trying to figure out what's going on, right? You can eliminate those classes of bugs entirely by creating and using technology in this kind of way. Okay, so always be examining your DevOps. Where are team members losing time? And then is there an automated solution that can just wipe out that entire class of bug and get you all that time back? Think about this. The earlier you make those fixes and changes, the more time you'll save. Okay, if you make a fix like this at the end of development, it's not a big deal, right? It doesn't help you very much. If you make it toward the beginning or middle of development, then you're going to save a lot of time and avoid a lot of issues. Okay, so always be thinking about your DevOps. Also, if you haven't looked into Git submodules, it's a really cool thing. Use them on your next big project outside of this course. It allows you essentially to nest Git repositories within other Git repositories. So you can update code. You can update code in one project and then push those improvements to another project. And have both of those projects have their own unique repository, but a shared sub-repository. It's really, really cool. Okay? So does anyone have any questions about any of this? I've kind of been just talking a lot. All right, I'm glad we got the bot out of there. Good work, Ish. This is a secure broadcast. I want to talk today about games and art, okay? So art, it's an interesting topic. If you think about games, right? Games these days, we just got off a business lecture. So you might be thinking about games as products, right? You want to create this game, you're going to sell it, you're going to put it out there, players are going to love it, they'll have a really good, entertaining time. But could games have any other purposes? Are games only meant for entertainment, or can they do other things too? That's what I want to think about today during this lecture, okay? So let's go ahead and get into it. Has anyone played this game? Papers, Please. Has anyone heard of this game? It looks like we got a question here. What if you want those singletons in all scenes of type A, but not of type B? For example, menu scenes might not need singletons X, Y, and Z, but all levels should have them. Can easily be included, but disabled. So I believe that you can disable them, and that would be fine. You could probably rewrite that file that I provided. It's fairly simplistic, so that you can mark or provide a list of scenes that it shouldn't be in, right? So, okay, enforce your prefab in all scenes except these. So you provide that function with a list of strings of scene names that it should never put your prefab in. Like that's something you could do. So it looks like a glory to our Stutska, absolutely. So it looks like people played this game, a very impactful game, but I'd be curious how many people actually describe this as fun. Okay, we'll find out. So I have a question for you, chat. What is art? Okay, and what does it mean for something to be art? What does art mean to you? Right? When someone walks up to you and says, "Oh, what a piece of art." What are they trying to get at? We'll give you a little bit of time, chat. Art, self-expression, okay? You want to express some element of your being and your experience, okay? Provokes emotion or thought. So a piece of art is something that causes the consumer to think about something or experience an emotion or a memory or something. Some kind of expression of creativity. Okay, so it is, maybe there's a novelty factor here. Maybe, art should be new and bold and strange and get you to think about something you haven't thought about before. Okay, something that is appealing to one or more senses. Okay, so, I mean, gosh, I feel like maybe the wind could be considered art, right? You go outside, so appealing, right? You feel the wind go by, you smell the fall air, right? And that maybe that's art in a way, right? So those are some pretty good little definitions, right? However, this is the kind of question that maybe it's more useful as a thought experiment than as something that, hey, we need to nail down. It needs to be precise, right? We got to have this definition of art. That's art. That's not art, right? Maybe it's more in the eye of the beholder. But regardless, who knows who this person is? Does anyone know this face? Very famous person. Okay, you certainly have heard this name before, but can you put the name to the face? Very good point, Shuang. Does anyone know who this is? This, bingo. Hey, two of us got it. All right, this is Roger Ebert. This is the famous film critic. Now, it's unclear why, but Roger Ebert at some point just had to provide us his piece on a medium that he really does not interact with a whole lot, which is video games. He was famous for saying video games can never be art. And I don't recall exactly when he said this. I think it was mid-2000s. I should really find a date. This is a fairly old lecture. But he essentially said that video games can never really be art, right? A very, very strange thing to say when his own medium of film is essentially a subset of games, right? If anyone has played like a Quantic Dream video game, right? Heavy Rain, Beyond Two Souls, or Detroit Become Human, or if they've ever played a game like Until Dawn, right? Many video games are, they have less gameplay to them. They are more like interactive films, and if played in a certain way, they can literally be films with no interactivity at all to get to the end. It's very, very strange definition, but that's what he thought. Who knows who this person is? And I get a feeling we'll have a few more hands in the chat. Who is this person? Any idea? That's 2010. That feels about right, Secretary. It feels about right. Thank you. Yeah, Edith Finch would be a good counterexample for sure. Who is this, chat? Oh, chat, come on. You can't tell me you don't know who this is, right? This is Satoru Iwata, the late president of Nintendo, okay? And very, very interesting and impactful man. He had another saying, okay? His saying was, video games are meant to be just one thing, fun for everyone. And what's really interesting about this quote is if you play a lot of Nintendo games, you really do get this impression, right? Nintendo games are often just purely they are just they seem to aim so much for gameplay and for your level design and gameplay mechanics that are just aimed at entertaining, right? It's just meant to be entertainment. Nintendo games often don't really try and include very obvious kind of political or societal or historical messages, which is very, very interesting. Iwata only thought games should be fun and nothing really else, okay? And so that's the question we want to ask ourselves, right? Should games only be about entertainment, which is largely what we focused on so far in this course? Should they only be things that we want to sell, we want to please people? I mean, that's nearest and dearest to my heart, but is that all games can be? Really? Well, let's take a look, okay? So let's think about how artistic questions can be kind of provided and exhibited and asked through gameplay. Who's heard of this game? It's called Passage. And let's see if I can get it going here. So I'll warn you, these games often do not render very well on modern operating systems, and we'll have to hope we can stream it half decently for you here, okay? Okay. Also, one of these games crashed my stream earlier. Uh-oh. Did we lose it? Oh, that's okay. We're gonna have to use some elbow grease here to get these to run, I think. Open file location. We're gonna have to use the compatibility mode, maybe. Interesting that the game just instantly crashed. So let's run. No. Properties. Let's try and run it with compatibility. I think this game came out quite a while ago. So let's try and run it with the late XP compatibility mode. How about that? Hey! All right, it's really tiny, chat. I apologize. Actually, you know what? Hold on. Can we make it bigger? Hold on. Can we make the... Hello. Okay. Adapt, improvise, overcome. All right, let's roll. Oh, oh. It's not a happy ending, is it? Rest in peace. So, a couple things I want to ask you about, chat. Did you notice anything about how this game, how the protagonist kind of changes over time? Right? How does the protagonist change, your player avatar there? Also, tell me about the score. What did you notice about the score and how it changes? What did you notice, chat? They started looking more and more aged, right? Score went up only as you went right, it looked like, and not when you went up or down. That's right. So you only score when you gain points. You gain 1 point for every few steps you take to the right, and you get points for getting the treasure chest too. What about the rendering, chat? Did you notice that at the beginning of the game, all the fuzziness is over on the right, and at the end of the game, all the fuzziness is over on the left? Did you notice that, chat? It's almost like when you're young, the future is very uncertain and ambiguous and fuzzy, but when you're old, it's the past that is ambiguous and fuzzy and hard to remember, right? Interesting. There's one interesting thing here. This is the first time I've ever played this that I didn't find a friend. I missed the friend at the beginning of the game. You see this person right here? You can decide to walk past, or you can meet up. Yay! Look at the score, chat. Look at the score. It's now going up by 2. However, both of your characters block your movement. And so it is now more difficult to maneuver, okay? For instance, I can't walk through here. I can't walk through this passage, okay? And so, chat, one really cool thing about this game, if you play it multiple times, you start to see more and more stuff going on. For instance, when the game, when you find your friend, right? If you find your friend and travel with her, you actually gain more points, right? As you move forward in life, right? It's a little bit more valuable to you, you could say. However, if you try and maneuver down lower in the stage where there are more like super valuable treasure chests everywhere, you'll find that you often can't quite get through those passages. It's kind of like having, those relationships can block you from other opportunities. Interesting, interesting. So this is not a game that I think many people would describe as overly entertaining or overly fun, okay? But it is a game that seems very carefully designed, and if you play it a few times, and even the first time, I think you'll find yourself having a little bit of an emotional response to some of the things that happens. Did you expect that grave was going to show up just like that? Well, if you get to the end of the game with your friend, you actually get to see them die first. And unfortunately, after your friend dies, you become a hunchback and you can barely move. It's like your life has lost all of its meaning and your energy has disappeared. So it is a very interesting game with a lot of unique design elements that seems designed for purposes other than entertainment. Okay, what purposes those were exactly may be up to you. All right, let's keep going here. Oh, this is going to be really hard to see. Let me go ahead and fix your view here, everyone. There you go. We're gonna have to make it small again though in just a moment. Okay, let's see here. This next game, Mainichi, was the game that crashed my my computer, crashed my stream a little bit earlier. So hopefully we can get it running. Okay. Now I'm gonna give you a warning. This is not a game that was made for fun. Okay. This is a game that, in a way, is very upsetting. All right. It's very emotionally poignant. And it has a very particular message to get across, okay? So let's go ahead and take a look, all right? So let's see if we can get it going here. Mainichi. I think it's set up to launch in full screen mode. So let's go ahead and see if we can get it going here. And I might have to readjust the screen. You know, I'm already going to do that. Let's go ahead and make it. We're going to adapt, improvise, overcome here. With our technology, going to make it, because I think it shows up in the corner. Maybe? Let's go ahead and run it. Maybe I can get it to run in windowed only mode. Yeah, can we do that? Uh-oh. 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 Is it? Hey! All right. We're good. Okay. I'm gonna make myself not a speaker here. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I don't think it's working, team. Oh boy. Okay. Uh-oh. Mayday. Mayday. Is the stream still okay? Okay, let's try and run this one more time here. Okay, so now I'll make it bigger for you. Okay. Okay. Looks like I still have a couple hours before meeting up for coffee. Probably should start getting ready soon. Or I could be lazy and take a nap until then. Tempting. I should try being more positive today. Okay. I should bathe before getting dressed. I really shouldn't leave the house without some makeup. Is it time to bathe and shave before going out? Yeah, let's do it. God, how is it still cold this time of year? I'll never get used to it. Oh, that's a great idea for a game. Ouch. Not the knee again. Oh, the water was so warm. It's only coffee with a friend, but I should still put on my face before leaving. Just think of it like painting. Once you start, you can't go back, really. There. I look like me again. Would love to get some gaming in, but it doesn't look like I have much time left. Pretty sure I have some food in the fridge. Haven't been eating well lately. Maybe I can sneak in some food before leaving. Let's warm this up. Peach curry chicken. Thank God for slow cookers. Looks like it's time to go. Don't want to keep her waiting. Okay, we're outside now. Let's head to the coffee shop. Oh my God. Look, is that a boy or a girl? Shh, they'll hear you. But isn't that gross? What's up, pretty? Hey, slow down. I want to talk to you. Oh, shit. You're a man. That's someone's son. Let's get out of here. Okay, we've made it to the coffee shop. Hey, Maddie. I'm over here. Hey there, hun. Do you mind getting me coffee while I finish up this call? You know my favorite. Okay, let's order some coffee. Hello there. Can I get something started for you? May I please have a hazelnut latte and a chai? No problem. Paying with cash or card today? Here you go. Thank you very much, Mr. Rice? Oh, jeez. Well, your drink will be at the other end. Okay, let's go get it. Here. Oh, it's that cute barista. Catch his attention or sneak away when you can. I'll probably sneak away. Here's a hazelnut latte and chai up at the bar. Okay, I think we have it. Caffeine delivery. Just in time. You look down. Is everything okay in life? You know, the usual. It's hard to feel happy sometimes. You shouldn't care what people think of you. Your friends love you, and that's all that matters. Thanks. So I think, yeah, I think most players would agree, right? Like this is not a game that's meant to make you feel comfortable, right? It's a game that is very, very poignant and very uncomfortable in many ways, right? So Maddie Bryce is a transgender woman in San Francisco, and she had a hard time expressing to her friends just what it was like to live as a transgender woman, the kind of issues you run into that maybe you don't run into if that's not you, right? So even something as simple as handing a credit card with the outdated pronouns on there can lead to some really awkward interactions. Harassment on the street, right? Wondering, am I prepared enough at home before you even go outside, right? So it's extremely poignant game that helped her get across the experiences that she has day to day. Okay, so in a way, it shows the power of video games to help others walk a mile in your shoes or in the shoes of someone else, right? Helps us build empathy for people with different situations and different experiences than us. A very poignant and very powerful example, I think. So let's keep going. I think this one you'll find to have maybe a little bit more of a humorous tone. Who has played The Stanley Parable? And I'll shrink my screen here and we'll bring back your view here. Let's see. Who has played a game called The Stanley Parable? This was made by a guy named Davey Reedon, who's actually brother of Doug Reedon, who I worked with at Electronic Arts and defeated in Smash Brothers. If he happens to see this, I still remember that match. It was glorious. Has anyone played Stanley Parable? Right? An incredible game. What I want to do, chat, is I want to briefly explore this game. Let's take 5 minutes to get this game set up, okay? Then we're going to come back and really quickly we're going to knock out a few decisions, okay? And we're gonna get some votes on it. Chat, you're gonna help me out. We'll see you in 5 minutes, chat. I'll throw some music on. We'll get this game started up. We'll see you then. We took a look at Marbles on stream. We're not gonna play it though. Ah, you're right. Thank you very much. Rex Roof, thank you. You found a bug in this old, out-of-date lecture. Wow. It looks like there's a new version of the Stanley Parable coming out. Ultra Deluxe. Interesting. Yeah, I know that the Stanley Parable's development took a lot out of Davey. His brother told me that he had been crunching a lot and was very stressed during it. So hopefully he's calmed the situation down a bit, having more fun with development. Two more minutes. Ultra Deluxe is a tagline that sounds like it's out of a Kirby game. Okay, that was music from Sonic Heroes. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it. Let's start up our game here. I hope that it starts with my high-powered processor because I think, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna have to look for it. Make sure it launches with NVIDIA because I think this game tends to lag on my machine. Let's see here. Program files. Where's the Steam folder? Steam, where are you? So Steam, there we are. Steam, Common Apps, I think. Was it Steam Apps? There it is. Common, Stanley. Where's Stanley? Uh-oh. There it is, Stanley Parable. Okay, and Stanley. Let's go ahead and run this with the NVIDIA processor. Hopefully this doesn't kill the stream or anything. Okay. Whoopsie. What happened to our... Oh boy. I'm not sure what's going on with our chat here, chat. Let me alt it, bring it down like that. Okay, it doesn't exist. Uh-oh, that's not good. Hopefully Steam will be able to launch it. All right, is this it? Maybe? Hey, there we are. Okay, chat, you're gonna have to let me know if you see too much lag, okay? I think we can probably go in and change the graphical settings to tune it down, if so. Okay, are you ready? It looks like we're already lagging on the title screen, so I'm gonna go ahead and change the settings here. Display mode, uh-oh, advanced. Filtering mode, trilinear, what's the cheapest we know of? What about anisotropic 2x? Wait for vertical sync, let's not. Multi-core rendering, let's do it. Shader detail, low, 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 eh. Hopefully this helps out our machine. How does it look? Is it running better? Yes, it looks like it's running much better. Good, 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 good. Okay, let's start. Oh, it's lagging again. Can we go to, let's tune this down. Whoa. Okay, testing, testing, testing. Is it still lagging? We're gonna end up playing this, it's gonna look like a PS1 game in a moment. Alright, that looks good. We can adjust again if necessary. Alright, let's take a look at the Stanley Parable. Did we get the intro? Has anyone noticed the loading bar move? There it is. Alright, finally. Sonic 06 was an artistic statement, if I've ever seen one. Oh boy. Oh gosh. Alright, here we are.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happen. This complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
All right, chat. Let's go.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
So chat, which door should we go through? I'm seeing okay, I'm seeing 1 vote for left. I'm seeing 4 votes for right. Okay.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in. Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Chat, what do you think? What do you think, chat? What do you think? Should we truly go left, or should we continue on? You want to go in, chat? You know what, chat? I've got a vote too. Let's keep moving on.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
What do you think, chat? Red or blue? Wow, we're really just trolling our narrator, aren't we?
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door. All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what, let me take a stab in the dark at a new design and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
Okay, what do you think, chat? Should we take it? Let's do it.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here. A 1? I mean, I can understand if you had reservations, you saw ways the game could be improved to more fully express itself mechanically and artistically, but a 1? That's not even helpful. What am I supposed to do with that? But I guess it isn't my place to judge. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look. Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors?
There was
Again,
a leaderboard?
Honest answers, please.
I didn't even see it, so it gets a 1. Guidance is bad.
Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up. In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
4 hours, chat.
You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out, I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game, just to ease the pain? Let's see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot. Well, Stanley, is this any better? At last, the one thing you've always desired. A game I had absolutely nothing to do with. But is it enough? Tell me that, Stanley. Will it ever be enough? Well, I'll say this. I'm done making things for you. From now on, I will only create to fulfill a greater artistic purpose. Watch this, Stanley. I'm going to build a house. This will go here. No, here. And then... Let's see, what does it need? Yes, of course. And just to finish it all off, yes, it's complete. I made this, Stanley. Look at it.
We cannot jump.
Gaze upon my work of art and feel ashamed at your own inadequacy. Ah, but you've only seen it from the outside. You've only gotten half the experience. Please, step inside and make yourself comfortable. Isn't it grand? Isn't it perfect? It could only be better if... Wait, that's it. We must rebuild it out of diamond. Diamond everything. Yes, yes, yes. Come along, Stanley. We have to go mining. Oh my, it looks like it's going to get a bit dark. Have you brought a light?
Oh gosh.
Oh, no. This is far more open-ended than I had in mind. I'm looking for something more narrow and linear. Something that makes you feel utterly irrelevant. This won't do at all. 1 out of 5. Even the diamonds couldn't save this one. Okay, new game.
Okay, so this is the only playthrough we're going to do since it's so long. But pretty much every decision you come to in this game kind of branches the story into a totally new way, right? So there are so many different endings in this game, it's crazy, and so many different routes. And they're all very, very clever and fun and surprising.
Yes! I don't even know what this game is, but I love it. You, trapped in a glass box with no way out, listening to me talk. Oh, it's inspired. I couldn't have done it any better myself. What is this game even supposed to be? I can't figure it out. Okay, now I'm curious. Let's go find out what the hell this is. Oh, it's a puzzle. Critical thinking, Stanley. Your forte. Genius. No, actually, you know what? I think that's plenty. I really don't care much to see you stumble through any more of these games, and I highly doubt you're any wiser for the experience. Which is why, rather than continue to waste my time, I'm just going to leave you here. You can pretend you've beaten the game if it makes it any richer for you, but as for me, I've had enough. So, why don't you get cozy in this room, and if you have any grand revolution...
Oh, it's the old version of the Stanley Parable. Right? Those are the doors right back there. That's really cool. The 2 doors.
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it, down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
We will do one more ending. Are you ready for the second ending?
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go any way except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
Okay, everyone. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us for this playthrough of Stanley Parable. We did 2 endings, and I think there are way more. Aren't there like 20 or 30 in the game? I'm not exactly sure what the count is, but there are a lot of different decisions you can make in this game, and many of them go off in very creative paths. Some of them are longer, some of them are shorter, and even doing whatever the narrator tells you to do is a decision in and of itself that is pretty fun to play through. So that's a really, really great example of a game that appears to have several different artistic messages, but they all kind of have a theme of, game tropes, right? What is a game? What does it mean to be a character in a game? What does it mean to be following a narrative? But wait a second, you've got free will, right? You're a player, so you don't have to follow the narrative that the designer specified. But then does the designer get angry about that, or can they embrace it somehow? Playtesting, all of this, so many different interesting game dev and media topics and poignant kind of free will topics come up in this game. So I encourage you, I believe it's very cheap now, purchase the game, explore, and you're going to have a really great afternoon doing so, okay? Let's play through another couple games that seem to have something to say. So Pond, has anyone heard of this game? This is a great game to play when you're really stressed out. It is a game whose purpose, clearly, is to help you relax, help you chill, and help you kind of just calm down. Pond. That's you. Okay, hold space. This game, the only button you ever use is spacebar. And you hold space to breathe in, and then you release it to exhale, right? So everyone, as I breathe in, you must breathe in too, okay? And as I exhale, you exhale, okay? Follow me. If you breathe too long, you choke. Oopsie. You need to breathe out when the balls get to you, otherwise you choke. I hope it doesn't end the game that we messed that up. Okay, good. It did not end the game. I really like this game's art style. It's very lo-fi. Are you feeling peaceful, chat? An extremely beautiful game with an incredible artistic message of helping you come to peace with the world and your situation. If only we breathe. Oh no! Oh no, it's a disaster. Gosh darn it, it's a disaster. We didn't play well enough. Damn it. Okay, hold on. We gotta back up. We gotta back up. Yeah, that's the first time I've messed up this game in quite a while. So let's take a look at what is supposed to happen if you do well enough. Okay, ready? So if you play well, this is what happens. It's an apocalypse. Okay, so clearly this is a game that is kind of, its artistic statement is making fun of games that try to have an artistic statement, and maybe don't do so well. Okay, I've got another fantastic game. This game is super cool, and I encourage you all to play it. It's called canyour.pet. Okay, and this is actually a URL. You should all go to it and play it, but if you don't want to, you can hang around with me and we'll play it. Got about 10 more minutes of class. This is a game that's all about, having time, fun time with your pet, right? Getting it to be able to do different things, dressing it up, just having a really good time, okay? So let's go ahead and run the game here. Oh, so cute! What a wholesome game. Okay, so we can all dress it up here. Aw. Oh, that's adorable. Aw. Oh, this is just adorable. I love it. I love Mick Birdio here. Fantastic. We can feed it. It. We can shower it. Oh, gotta keep our hygiene up, right, Chat? This is just like Tamagotchi. And play ball with it. Aw, we can play catch together. What a fantastic new friend we made, everyone. Oh, I just love Can Your Pet. Can your pet play soccer? Yeah, mine can. Ha 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 ha. Alright, what's this? A bike. We got a little bike. and the public institutions aren't allowed to censor that. And so the question became, well, wait a second, this would be a public institution that's preventing the sale of certain products. That happens a lot, but these products are special. They're kind of artistic expression, right? If they're a piece of art, then, should a public entity be allowed to decide that certain humans cannot view them, right? Based on age or based on something else. And as it turns out, the court decided that 7.2, yes, games are considered speech and expression in this case, and the public sector cannot ban them in any case. So, at least in America. So, here's the thing to consider, all right? You're all engineers. You know that. You're in an engineering program. You're taking engineering courses, and you're good ones too, right? You're producers, though, as well. This semester, you've done a lot of work to kind of manage your time. Keep track of how much time is something consuming. How long is it taking, right? You're also designers too, particularly now, where you're deciding not only how do we engineer something, but what should we be creating, right? And of course, you are all artists too. You're making these games with the objective of giving a certain experience, emotional to your players. Or maybe you even have some sort of artistic message or argument that you're trying to make within your games, even on P3 or on P2. We'll have to see, right? But that's the takeaway, okay? You are multidisciplinary people, you're well-rounded people, and you should embrace all these different disciplines and what they can do for you and your ideas and your arguments and your outlook, okay? So that is all we have for this lecture. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining us. We'll let you go. I'm going to stick around for about 10 more minutes. We'll throw the tunes on. Next time, we're probably going to come back with a lecture on games and AI, artificial intelligence. So we'll be showing off some of the kind of neat cutting-edge stuff that's happening in the AI space as it relates to games and interactivity. Okay? All right, everyone. Take care. Thank you so much for joining us. And I will stick around. I'll turn the music back on. Here we go. So IndieDB, TIG source, the independent game source, so TIG source. I believe there's Pixel Prospector as well. And I would Google it, right? I'm sure you can find some different sources where you'll find some indie 3D modelers. You can also go to ArtStation if you want. Maybe some of them would be looking to contribute to a project, a student project for free. Who knows? Yep. No, actually, this is not Seaside Hill. This is Seagate, the tutorial that takes place right before Seaside Hill. This, what we're going to now, is Seaside Hill. Yeah, you're a little bit late to class, Principal Z. Fortunately, these are recorded, so as soon as we end here, you can go back and you can rewatch the broadcast. It'll be on YouTube a little bit later. Any questions, chat? having a sight incident. Uh-oh. Well, I hope, I'm gonna guess that Principal Z is Shashanth. I don't know of any other Twitch.tv employees that took 494. But I hope you get the site stability back on track. Yeah. So I think I need to go back in and I need to get a new Let's Encrypt certificate. It's really frustrating because this happens a lot. The process for getting a new Let's Encrypt certificate, unfortunately, with the kind of server Jira is using, is really not very fun. It is a process I'm good at messing up. Okay, so that's not Shashanth. Well, thank you for joining us, Principal Z, regardless of whether you took 494 or not. Let's get out of the Sonic music and calm down a little bit as we close up here. This music is legendary. I was sad when I discovered that the Nintendo Switch operating system does not really have a theme song or any background tracks. Even the eShop doesn't have any background tracks. It's very sad. It feels very un-Nintendo-like, some aspects of the Switch. Okay, so they have the general music, they have the Me channel music, they have the shop music. I think the Me channel and shop channel are like the two most popular themes probably. But did the other channels, like the Weather channel, have their own theme songs as well? I would really like to see the usage statistics for all of these different channels. I wonder how many of the kind of Louise more casual audience really made use of the photo channel. I need to listen real quick. So I'm confused, like, what was the purpose of the Everyone Votes channel? I remember being excited about it when it first came out. But wasn't it just like a glorified look at surveys? Like a random survey would happen, a simple survey, and then you'd see the results, and that was it. Like, that was the entire thing. Well, okay, yes, but the Splatfests... Okay, the Splatfests, you're right, they didn't really affect much of anything, did they? Like, the winner, the only Splatfest I think I can remember really remembering... sorry, I can remember, like, having an impact later is the final one where it was Callie versus Marie, and the losing character became the villain of the next game. That was super cool. I wish they would do more of that. They worked the pull into the lore for that game. Like, I believe Callie lost the vote, became discouraged, got hooked up with the antagonists from the first game, and became indoctrinated or something. Literally just a polling service. I wonder if there are any companies behind the scenes, like, paying for that polling data. Like, that I can see this Everyone Votes channel being used for, like, semi sneaky, slimy purposes. All right, it's time. 1:30. All right, I'm taking off, everyone. Everyone, put in a fantastic week this week. You've got these fantastic projects, and there's nothing more sad than seeing a fantastic idea and a good core kind of, not make it on time to reach its potential. So put in a good week of work. I know you will. If you have any questions, make sure to hit up the Piazza or the East 494 Discord. Otherwise, have a safe and healthy week, okay? We will see you next time. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.